We're going to start with the nation. EFCC clamps down on firms for issuing invoices in dollars. Oyo gives 460 million naira to 1,407 farmers in economic recovery plan. World Bank's $15 billion for 30 projects in Nigeria. My plans for Ondo by Senator Jimo Ibrahim. NNPCL begins production of extra 14,000 bureau de change. And reps bill for polls in 1 day passes second reading. Creative industry leaders reject minister's African Grammy plans. Okay, which story?
The headline. So the EFCC has joined the fight to halt the falling of the Naira, and they launch a crackdown, crackdown on dollar speculators, orders, racketeers, and firms issuing invoices in foreign currency. And they put in together a 14 special task force to fish out culprits. This 14 special task force will work from the 14 zonal commands. They already started with Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna. Then they play. And they've also invited some proprietors of privately run universities, higher institutions who charge their fees in dollars. There are many. Also, the Association of Bureau de Change Operators in Nigeria requested the CBN allow them to resume the sale of dollar, but EFCC is on their tail. The EFCC said the task force will ensure the enforcement of extant laws against currency mutilation and dollarization. So there's an exception to this for foreigners, visitors, and tourists who can spend, their cards paying in their currencies if they cannot exchange. But the task force inaugurated by the executive chairman of the commission was raised to protect the economy from the abuses, the leakages, and distortion, and exposing it to instability and disruption. These practices that we have around. And those invited will be answering questions on why they're charging dollars. The FCC also quoted the section of the CBN Act that criminalizes this and compels Nigerians to consider the only currency permissible as that issued by the CBN. So we are waiting to see how this progresses.
Okay, and the story in Nation?
Yes, I have another story inside the Nation. It said 34,694 stranded Nigerians or Nigerian migrants have been assisted to return home from April 2017 till date through the collaboration of the federal government and International Organization for Migration, IOM. And the IOM Awareness Raising Program Officer, Cyprine, was the one who dropped the hints in the media training on amplifying women's voice in migration decision-making in Lagos. That happened yesterday. And he said that out of the 34,694 assisted voluntary returnees, 19,579 were male and 15,115 were female. And the returnees were evacuated from countries like Libya, Chad, Morocco, Mali, Germany, Netherlands, Ghana, among others. And she also said that 28,204 survivors were reintegrated, among which 16,264 were male and 11,940 were female. And they said the reintegration was the core activity of IOM Nigeria, which also assists migrants to willing to return home to come back, and then they support their reintegration. They help them with training, vocational education, just to help them settle back into activities in the country or any activity of their choice. And they said that we in the media need to be able to give proper information about migration so that people, especially women, are aware of what it entails if they want to travel. We should avoid using a stigma for women who have decided to go to the shores of other countries, to make a living, but just give them proper information about it.
So, all right. Okay, good. You have a story?
Yeah, I have a story. So the Sustainable Action for Economic Recovery initiative, which is an initiative by the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, to cushion the effect of PMS, the petrol subsidy removal, and provide food security for people, has decided to give away 24,000 bags of maize, 50 kg bags of maize to 2,000 poultry farmers. And they also gave 1,000 fish feeds to fish farmers as well. As part of the initiative, they will provide 460 million naira as loans. He said that the loans will be accessible to all farmers within Oyo State. Farming is a big deal within Oyo State, actually. So then providing loan to them, he said the farmers will not need to know anybody. Just go to the banks and apply for the farmer's loan, and you would go through the process, and if you are approved, you will get the funds that the state has provided for such intervention. However, when we give 24,000 bags to 2,000 poultry farmers, that's almost like 2 bags per poultry farmer. How many? That's barely 2 days of, depending on the size of your poultry farm. I think that the governor needs to have intervention based on conversation with this. Let's even first call these 2,000 poultry farmers into a meeting and ask what they want. You realize it might not necessarily be 2 bags of poultry maize as feed. And we're providing intervention that will truly meet the needs of the people, so that we don't end up spending this 460 million naira to give loans and the money does not come back, like the one that happened with CBN's intervention, because we did not address the real problem.
All right, so I have a story. The Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, has been under fire with industry stakeholders over her plan to invite the Grammys to have an African version. So she had planned for an African version of the Grammy Awards. The minister's plan, according to the stakeholders, say that it will water down the essence of all the existing African Grammy Awards that we have. Says that Musawa, according to the stakeholders, said that industries insiders such as the CEO of Trending Music, Segun Ogujimi, said that it reeks of neocolonialism.
Yes.
And that he stressed that African music on its own terms, rather than adopting foreign models that may not align with continent's cultural heritage. Says stakeholders are concerned that the proposed African Grammy Awards would overshadow existing continental music awards and performances. So
I'm even worried that she does not know enough.
May we not have inferiority complex?
So
exactly.
We have awards.
before we ill advised.
Yes,
Yeah.
very, very.
Afrif.
She shouldn't
have
have
our
said
own
that.
TV
has their own.
Yeah, so somebody
Like
just...
she doesn't know.
So anyway, let's just take the headlines and we'll just move on. Let's go on a short break. Let me see how much minutes. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.